Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Cabinet approves production-linked incentive scheme for key sectors to boost manufacturing and exports. CCEA grants over 8,000 crore rupees for continuation and revamping of infrastructure viability gap funding. India has shifted from tax terrorism to tax transparency, says Prime Minister. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 92.79%. And Textiles Ministry launches Local for Diwali campaign to support local weavers and artisans. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news in detail. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs CCEA has approved continuation and revamping of the scheme for financial support to public-private partnerships and infrastructure viability gap funding scheme till 2024-25 with a total outlay of 8,100 crore rupees. Briefing reporters in New Delhi after the Cabinet meeting today, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said the aim of this scheme is to promote public-private partnerships in social and economic infrastructure, leading to efficient creation of assets and ensuring their proper operation and maintenance and make the economically and socially essential projects commercially viable.
Continuation of a scheme which exists, but also revamping it to an extent that the financial support which has been extended all these years from 2006 of providing a viability gap fund for economic infrastructure will now be extended even for social infrastructure. Social sector activities which relate to wastewater treatment, water supply, solid waste management and health and education sectors. So in these sectors, if there are projects through which private participation can be sought, with this we expect to be able to quickly ramp up social infrastructure in this country.
The Union Cabinet has approved production-linked incentive PLI scheme for 10 key sectors for enhancing India's manufacturing capabilities and exports. These sectors include telecom and networking products, pharmaceutical and drug, automobile and auto components, textile products and food products. Briefing reporters after the Cabinet meeting today, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said the scheme will make Indian manufacturers globally competitive, attract investment and enhance exports. He said this will also increase production, export and employment opportunities in the country.
मोदी सरकार ने यह फैसला किया कि 10 उत्पादन के प्रमुख क्षेत्रों में उत्पादन आधारित प्रोत्साहन राशि यानी प्रोडक्शन लिंक्ड इंसेंटिव दिया जाएगा, लगभग 2 लाख करोड़ का। ये उत्पादन भी बढ़ाएगा, निर्यात भी बढ़ाएगा और रोजगार भी बढ़ाएगा। आत्मनिर्भर भारत को साकार करने की दृष्टि से ये निर्णय महत्व का होगा।
Industry body FICCI has said that the announcement of PLI scheme for 10 sectors by the government today is a major boost for the manufacturing sector. FICCI President Dr. Sangeeta Reddy said the sectors covered under the PLI scheme are strategic and technology intensive and are also important from the perspective of employment generation in the country. She said Indian economy offers huge opportunity for these sectors not just from the domestic market perspective but also to make India an export hub for these products. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India has left behind the tax terrorism and is moving towards an era of tax transparency. He said sustained efforts by the government towards the policy of reform, perform and transform, this has made it possible. The Prime Minister was speaking after inaugurating the newly constructed office-cum-residential complex of the Cuttack bench of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal in Odisha through the virtual mode this evening.
पहले की सरकारों के समय शिकायतें होती थी, टैक्स टेररिज्म, चारों तरफ यही शब्द सुनाई देता था। आज देश उसे पीछे छोड़कर टैक्स ट्रांसपेरेंसी की तरफ बढ़ रहा है। टैक्स टेररिज्म से टैक्स ट्रांसपेरेंसी का ये बदलाव इसलिए आया है क्योंकि हम रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म और ट्रांसफॉर्म के अप्रोच के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। हम रिफॉर्म कर रहे हैं रूल्स में, प्रोसीड्यूर्स में और इसमें टेक्नोलॉजी की भरपूर मदद ले रहे हैं। हम परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं साफ नीयत के साथ, स्पष्ट इरादों के साथ और साथ ही साथ हम टैक्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के माइंडसेट को भी ट्रांसफॉर्म कर रहे हैं।
Prime Minister said that the colonial images of the tax collector as the exploiter and the taxpayer as the exploited need to change. He said, due to the transparent tax administration, more and more taxpayers are coming forward to be a part of the tax system of the country. The Prime Minister underlined the number of measures which have been taken by the government in easing the tax burden in different sectors of the economy.
विकास की गति तेज करने के लिए, भारत को और ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रेंडली बनाने के लिए देश में ही लाखों युवाओं को रोजगार देने वाली मौजूदा कंपनियों के लिए कॉरपोरेट टैक्स घटाया गया है। देश मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में आत्मनिर्भर बने, इसके लिए नई घरेलू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनियों के लिए टैक्स रेट 15% किया गया है। भारत के इक्विटी मार्केट में निवेश बढ़ाने के लिए डिविडेंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टैक्स को भी खत्म किया गया है। जीएसटी से भी दर्जनों टैक्स का जो जाल था कम हुआ है और ज्यादातर सामान और सेवाएं, उन सेवाओं में टैक्स की दर भी बहुत कम हुई है।
Mr. Modi said India is one among only a few countries to have codified the rights and duties of the taxpayers. He said the trust deficit between the taxpayers and the tax administration has significantly reduced. He pointed out that now only 0.25% of the returns are being subjected to scrutiny, which has boosted taxpayers' faith in the system.
आज का टैक्स पेयर पूरी टैक्स व्यवस्था में बहुत बड़े बदलाव और पारदर्शिता का साक्षी बन रहा है। जब उसे रिफंड के लिए महीनों इंतजार नहीं करना पड़ता, कुछ ही सप्ताह में उसे रिफंड मिल जाता है, तो उसे पारदर्शिता का अनुभव होता है। जब वो देखता है कि विभाग ने खुद आगे बढ़कर बरसों पुराने विवाद को सुलझा दिया है, तो उसे पारदर्शिता का अनुभव होता है। जब उसे फेसलेस अपील की सुविधा मिलती है, तब वो टैक्स ट्रांसपेरेंसी को और ज्यादा महसूस करता है।
The Prime Minister also appealed to the people to continue with preventive measures like wearing face mask and social distancing to deal with COVID-19 infection.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said election results have clearly shown that the people will shower their blessings on those who work with honesty and vision of development. The Prime Minister was addressing BJP workers on the occasion of celebration of victory gained during the Bihar Assembly elections and by-elections in other states.
21वीं सदी के भारत के नागरिक बार बार अपना संदेश स्पष्ट कर रहे हैं। अब सेवा का मौका उसी को मिलेगा जो देश के विकास के लक्ष्य के साथ ईमानदारी से काम करेगा। हर राजनीतिक दल से देश के लोगों की यही अपेक्षा है कि देश के लिए काम करो, देश के काम से मतलब रखो। कल जो नतीजा है, उन्होंने साबित कर दिया है कि आप काम करेंगे तो लोगों से आपको भरपूर आशीर्वाद भी मिलेगा।
Mr. Modi also thanked the people of the country, Election Commission and local administration and security forces for conducting the elections successfully. He said conducting election during the corona pandemic was not an easy task. BJP President JP Nadda said the people of Bihar has reimposed faith in the welfare policies of the Narendra Modi government.
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का लाखों करोड़ों कार्यकर्ता की ओर से जहां मैं वंदन करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं, वहीं जो उन्होंने अथक प्रयास देश और समाज को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए किया है, वह सच में देश को एक नई दृष्टि और दिशा देने वाला है।
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar expressed gratitude to the people of the state for giving majority to NDA in the Bihar Assembly elections. In a tweet, Mr. Kumar said he salutes the public for the majority it gave to the NDA. Chief Minister Mr. Kumar thanked PM Narendra Modi for his support.
Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited IFFCO today slashed the price of ammonium phosphate sulfate fertilizers by 50 rupees per bag across the country with immediate effect. According to IFFCO, the cost is reduced by 1,000 rupees per ton as support to farmers on sulfur, a key input nutrient for the soil. This nutrient is very important for all type of oilseed crops. Over 262 lakh tons paddy has been procured in the current Kharif marketing season, registering an increase of 20.80% over the last year. According to Agriculture Ministry, paddy procurement is progressing smoothly in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh. The ministry said out of the total purchase, Punjab alone has contributed over 185 lakh tons, which is more than 70% of the total procurement. Over 22 lakh farmers have already been benefited from the ongoing Kharif marketing season procurement operations with minimum support price outflow of over 49,527 crore rupees.
Agriculture Ministry today organized virtual meet on value chain creation for kiwi fruit, farm to fork to strengthen Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vocal for Local. The meeting was chaired by Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar in presence of the official of the Central Institute of Horticulture, Nagaland, keeping in mind the popularity of the fruit due to its tremendous commercial potential. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Tomar said that due to difficult terrain, the entire Northeast is lagging behind and all ministries, including Agriculture Ministry, are working towards ensuring a progressive Northeast. He said this lag can only be removed through a comprehensive vision along with a stable policy planning and balanced growth across the region. Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal has invited global investors to invest in India, taking benefit of the huge domestic market and conducive business environment in the country. In his keynote address today at a conference, he said the country offers fair value for the investments. Mr. Goyal said India has been seen as a trusted partner in the global value chains. The minister said Indian economy is coming out of the COVID setback and several data sets indicate that the country is returning back to the business. He said imports are also picking up, showing that the economic activity is normalizing. On the issue of the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, he said this is meant to not only make India self-reliant but also engage with the world from a position of strength.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today called for a Jan Andolan on water conservation and underlined the importance of people's participation to make it a success. Delivering virtual inaugural address at the second National Water Award ceremony, the Vice President stressed that water is a finite resource and not unlimited.
There is a danger of potable water becoming a scarce resource in the future. With the rising population, urbanization, industrialization, and expanding agricultural activities, the water requirement will continue to increase. The key message that needs to be taken to people again and again is this: the water that is available is finite, it is not unlimited. It is the responsibility of each and every citizen to save the water and use it judiciously. The need of the hour is to change our lifestyle and make water conservation a way of life.
Union Government has issued order bringing online films and audio-visual programs and online news and current affairs content under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, OTT, over the top platforms including Netflix, Hotstar, Prime Video and online news portals are also now under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The development was announced today in a Gazette notification.
The number of FASTag users in the country has reached 2 crore historical landmark, registering growth of 400% in a year. This has increased the total toll collection to 92 crore rupees per day, which is a substantial increase in the daily toll collection from 70 crore rupees per day a year back. National Highway Authority of India NHAI said as of now FASTag is contributing to nearly 75% of the total toll collection.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Cabinet approves production-linked incentive scheme for key sectors to boost manufacturing and exports. CCEA grants over 8,000 crore rupees for continuation and revamping of infrastructure viability gap funding. India has shifted from tax terrorism to tax transparency, says Prime Minister. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 92.79%. And Textiles Ministry launches Local for Diwali campaign to support local weavers and artisans. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Ministry of Textiles has launched a campaign Local for Diwali. Textile Minister Smriti Irani has appealed to the people to celebrate Diwali by buying and gifting local textiles and handicraft items to support local weavers and artisans. She appealed to people to take a picture of their favorite article like clothing or a handicraft product and tag the person you purchase it from and go #LocalForDiwali. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had urged the citizens to use Indian handicrafts and also communicate to more and more people about them. The Uttar Pradesh government will send One District, One Product ODOP special gift hamper to the President of India, Prime Minister, central ministers and other dignitaries this Diwali, which will have all the local products of Uttar Pradesh. State government's decision is in line with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's fervent appeal to the people to promote Local for Diwali this time. More from a correspondent.
The idea behind the initiative is to strengthen the branding of One District, One Product scheme of a state. To make this Diwali special with local products, the basket will have earthen lamps and Lakshmi Ganesh idols made of terracotta from Gorakhpur for worship. To grace the occasion, it has chicken ka kurta from Lucknow and silk stole from Varanasi. This special gift hamper also carries Kala Namak rice from Siddharthnagar, brass ball from Muradabad, famous Itr from Kannauj, Amla from Pratapgarh, black pottery vase from Azamgarh, jaggery from Muzaffarnagar, marble tea coaster from Agra, wooden pen stand of Saharanpur and Zardoji design from Chandauli in a basket made in Prayagraj. This gift basket will introduce famous items of Uttar Pradesh to these dignitary people. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Madhya Pradesh, the Handicrafts Development Corporation has launched a unique initiative, Local for Diwali # under the Vocal for Local campaign in the festive season. The objective of this campaign is to encourage the products of local artisans to make them self-reliant. Details from a correspondent.
The sale of locally produced earthen lamps, cotton and silk handloom textiles is being promoted by the Handicrafts Development Corporation under the Local for Diwali #. Managing Director of Madhya Pradesh Handicrafts Development Corporation, Rajiv Sharma, has stated that Local for Diwali has been shared by the corporation in all social media platforms to increase sales of local products on the social media. The corporation is also organizing Deepotsav Melas, a fair on Diwali, in Bhopal, Gwalior, Jabalpur, Indore and Sagar. Following the COVID-19 protocol, handicrafts and weavers of the state are selling their products in these fairs. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi and Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Kiren Rijiju today inaugurated the Hunar Haat at Delhi Haat, Pitampura in New Delhi, which will continue till 22nd of this month. Talking to reporters during inauguration of the Hunar Haat, Mr. Naqvi said that Hunar Haat is becoming an effective platform to strengthen the mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vocal for Local by promoting and encouraging indigenous products of master artisans and craftsmen. The minister said indigenous exquisite products made of clay, metal, wooden and jute are the major attraction at Hunar Haat. He said social distancing and other guidelines regarding corona pandemic are being strictly followed at Hunar Haat. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 92.79%. More than 50,000 COVID patients have recovered during the past 24 hours. Health and Family Welfare Ministry said the total number of recoveries has surpassed the 80 lakh mark in the country. In the past 24 hours, 44,281 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 86 lakh. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today reviewed the COVID situation and public health measures with Chief Ministers and Health Ministers of 7 states. These states are Maharashtra, Uttarakhand, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya and Goa. During the meeting, Dr. Harshvardhan advised the states to focus on higher testing, especially in districts with higher positivity rate. He stressed upon the importance of Jan Andolan initiated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to stop the chain of transmission.
Veteran film producer and director Sajid Nadiadwala says those scientists in the country and abroad are working day and night to develop a vaccine for coronavirus. People as responsible citizens must do their job of following COVID-appropriate behavior enumerated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking to AIR News, Mr. Nadiadwala said, "This is the time when people should stand by their country."
There are many times in life we get a chance to stand by our great country. And this is definitely one of them. This virus is very new, and like many in the world, our scientists are working tirelessly to find a medicine to kill the virus. While they are doing this noble job, we as a responsible citizen should do our job, like wearing a mask, maintaining social distance, and frequently washing and sanitizing our hands. In this way, we're not only saving ourselves, our society, our country, but also humanity from this pandemic. So please take care of yourself.
In yet another ceasefire violation, and for the second time in a day, Pak army troops once again initiated unprovoked and indiscriminate firing along the LOC in Shahpur, Kirni and Kasba sectors of district Poonch in the evening today. PRO Defence Colonel Davinder Anand said that Pak troops initiated firing along the LOC at about 6 p.m. Earlier, Pak army troops violated ceasefire along Shahpur, Kirni and Kasba sectors of Poonch district in the morning today at about 9:30, which continued up to 2 p.m. The vigilant Indian Army troops guarding the fence are retaliating befittingly. There are no reports of damage to any property and loss of any life so far.
In Jammu and Kashmir, State Election Commissioner K.K. Sharma today interacted with the representatives of different political parties in Jammu. He said elaborate measures have been undertaken for the smooth conduct of District Development Council and Panchayat by-elections in the Union Territory. The State Election Commissioner K.K. Sharma and Chief Electoral Officer Hirdesh Kumar today launched sweep activities at Nirvachan Bhavan, Jammu in view of upcoming District Development Councils, Panchayat and Municipal by-elections. K.K. Sharma said the main purpose of sweep SVEEP campaign is to sensitize the voters regarding importance of their vote and inspire them to cast their votes in a non-partisan manner. The State Election Commissioner also released 6 radio jingles in Kashmiri, Dogri and Hindi languages which will be aired through All India Radio Jammu and Srinagar, FM channels and through satellite TV channels besides in local cable networks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with Prime Minister of Vietnam Nguyen Xuan Phuc will co-chair the 17th ASEAN-India Summit tomorrow. The leaders of all 10 ASEAN member states will virtually participate in the summit. The summit will review the status of ASEAN-India strategic partnership and take stock of progress made in key areas such as connectivity, maritime cooperation, trade and commerce, education and capacity building.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurved ITRA at Jamnagar and the National Institute of Ayurved NIA at Jaipur on Friday via video conferencing. These institutions are expected to play global leadership roles in the growth and development of Ayurveda in the 21st century. The Ayurveda Day has been observed every year from 2016 on the day of Dhanvantri Jayanti. Our correspondent reports potential role of Ayurveda in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic will be the focus of this year's Ayurveda Day observation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tributes to Maulana Azad and Acharya Kripalani on the birth anniversary today. In a tweet today, the Prime Minister said Maulana Azad and Acharya Kripalani are remembered as exemplary stalwarts who made outstanding contributions to national progress. Mr. Modi said both the leaders devoted themselves towards empowering the lives of the poor and youth.
Today is National Education Day. This day is observed every year to commemorate the birth anniversary of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the first Education Minister of independent India. Hong Kong today disqualified 4 pro-democracy lawmakers of their seats immediately after China allowed the city's executive to expel legislators deemed a threat to national security. The disqualification came after China's top legislature decided earlier today to allow for immediate disqualification of Hong Kong's legislators who endanger national security, seek the city's independence or seek foreign interference as reported by China's official news agency. More from our correspondent.
As per media reports, Hong Kong's pro-democracy opposition lawmakers today reiterated that they will resign in protest against the dismissal of 4 of their colleagues from the 70-seat legislature, which is having 19 pro-democracy lawmakers. This month, 8 other opposition politicians were arrested in connection with a legislative meeting in May that descended into chaos. Chinese Foreign Ministry today said that the disqualification was a necessary move to safeguard the rule of law and constitutional order in Hong Kong. Anshuman Mishra, AIR, Beijing.
Climbing for the 8th session in a row, equity benchmarks today logged fresh record highs. The key domestic indices gained amid positive global cues. The Sensex crossed 43,500 mark, while the Nifty index ended near 12,750 level. A report from the Business World.
The Sensex climbed 316 points to settle at 43,594. The NSE Nifty 50 index also surged 118 points to settle at 12,749. In the forex market, the rupee depreciated 20 paise and settled at 73 rupees and 38 paise against the US dollar. Gold prices remained almost unchanged to trade at 50,114 rupees per 10 grams in the Delhi bullion market. And in intraday trade, Brent crude prices were trading around $44.80 per barrel, while WTI crude prices were around $42.50 per barrel. V. Ravi Kumar, AIR News.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital will have moderate fog. The minimum temperature will be 11 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 29 degrees Celsius. In Mumbai, sky will be mainly clear. The minimum temperature in the metropolis will be 19 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 34 degrees Celsius. In Chennai, the sky will remain generally cloudy with light rain. The temperature will hover between 23 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have mainly clear sky with temperature varying between 21 and 33 degrees Celsius. On to the north, in Srinagar there will be mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be -1 degree Celsius while maximum will be around 17 degrees. In Jammu, lower level of temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius while upper level will be around 28 degrees with mainly clear sky. In Leh, sky will be partly cloudy, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. Minimum temperature will be -3 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 11 degrees. Gilgit will also see a clear sky becoming partly cloudy, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night with temperature hovering between 1 and 21 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, sky will mainly be clear and becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will move from 5 to 24 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 11 and 29 degrees Celsius. The city will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy with temperature oscillating between 13 and 29 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be 13 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 31 degrees. The city will have partly cloudy sky with haze. Ahmedabad will see a clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 17 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 34 degrees. Patna will have a clear sky with temperature hovering between 17 and 31 degrees Celsius. And Guwahati will have fog or mist would occur in early morning. The minimum temperature in the city will be 17 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 31 degrees Celsius.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Cabinet approves production-linked incentive scheme for key sectors to boost manufacturing and exports. CCEA grants over 8,000 crore rupees for continuation and revamping of infrastructure viability gap funding. India has shifted from tax terrorism to tax transparency, says Prime Minister. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 92.79%. And Textiles Ministry launches Local for Diwali campaign to support local weavers and artisans. And for details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.